opening up the phone lines at 257-5396. We're talking about the George Floyd funeral, which I thought a good portion of it was a disgrace. Benjamin Crumbs, as I like to call him, and the racist, anti-Semitic fool in Al Sharpton. Those are the African-American leaders you could find that were speaking last. Really, the family couldn't find anybody else? I thought it was
Master P was in the audience.
Oh, wow. Well, that guy. Yeah. Thank God that Ludacris and Kevin Hart were there. But listen, guys.
And again, there's nothing wrong with them being there, but what it proves is that it ended up being one big giant publicity stunt. When you have people like Master P and Kevin Hart and Ludacris, and then you have Al Sharpton with his organ doing what he did.
I will say, funny though,
it takes away from the validity and the seriousness of what actually happened.
It is funny to see Master P sitting right next to Amy Klobuchar. That did make me laugh a little bit.
You know, Amy Klobuchar is taking a lot of heat because she went up to the coffin and knelt down and acted all somber. And a lot of people are saying, hey, this is a woman who hasn't held police to account for years when she was a DA in Minnesota. So a lot of people not happy with that.
You could make the argument that Derek Chauvin had Amy Klobuchar actually tried to prosecute him on the 12 or 13 times that he was basically accused of abusing his power as a police officer, that he wouldn't be on the streets and this wouldn't even happen.
So here's what we're doing, ladies and gentlemen. These are the family members talking about George Floyd and talking about his legacy and who he was as a human being. Have a listen to this.
Everywhere you go and see people, how they cling to him. They wanted to be around him. George, he was like a general. Every day he walks outside, there'd be a line of people, just like when we came in, wanted to greet him and wanted to have fun with him. Guys that was doing drugs, like smokers and homeless people, you couldn't tell, because when you spoke to George, they felt like they was the president, because that's how he made you feel.
And so you could see, as all these people, no matter who you talk to, they will all say the same thing, and that George was somebody who was always welcoming, always made people feel like that they were special, and nobody felt left out. And he would enter into a room. Everybody would feel like they were special. He would embrace them.
But my big brother, great guy, great gentleman, great man.
Let's talk to the woman who was pregnant that he pointed a gun at when he tried to rob her house. Let's see if she would call him a gentleman. The number to call, 702.
No, again, what he did was, Brian, he held a gun to her to prevent her from calling the police to stop other people from robbing her house. That's what happened, because his friends were robbing her house, and his job was to hold a gun to her stomach to prevent her from stopping it from happening.
I understand, and that's why he went to jail. 257-5396 is the number to call. Do you agree with us? Do you disagree? Do you think it's fair to say that this man should not be painted in a positive light, regardless of police murdering him? That doesn't justify anything. That's not what we're saying here. 257-5396. Let's go to Dwayne. Dwayne, you're next up on the Vegas take.
Hey, what's up, Dwayne?
Hey, guys, I ain't spoke to y'all in a while, but it's like this. Why are we talking about his character? He wasn't the one that had his own knee on his neck.
I'll answer that. I'll answer. I understand. I'll answer that question because it's many people, family, friends, those who knew him that are talking about his character. If they weren't talking about his character, I wouldn't be criticizing them for that. It does not justify, sir, and I've said this 10 times in the last hour, and you know this. I never said that it justified what those police officers did. It was cold-blooded murder, and I hope those officers go to jail for the rest of their lives. But this man was not a good man. I'm sorry. George Floyd was not a good man.
Okay, but let me ask you this. Do you know where he got that fake $20 bill from?
I have no idea. He could
have got that $20 bill from another business.
Fair enough. You might be right, but let me ask you a question. Do you know where he got that gun, where he pointed it at that woman's pregnant stomach when he tried to rob her? Do you know where he got that gun?
Yeah, that wasn't an isolated situation.
But what I'm saying is, okay, he done something wrong. I'm not gonna hold back on that. He did put a gun to a woman's stomach.
Okay, hold on a second. Doing something wrong.
That's one of the worst things you can do, sir.
Hold on.
With all due respect.
Doing something wrong is farting during a radio show, okay? Pointing a gun. I'm sorry to make a joke, sir, but that's doing something
I do it
wrong.
at least 4 times a
JD
day.
does something wrong
Constantly.
Yeah, every day. Okay, I'm sure so you'll agree. You sound like a nice man. Let's be honest here. That's
I'm
not doing.
Going to give him 100% that he's all that. I'm just going to say like it is. They're going way overboard on this killing here. Okay.
Well, that's a different subject. I agree with you.
But they're not saying anything about what happened in Louisville, Kentucky. Okay, that poor girl was in her bed.
I agree, but I'm not sure what that. I agree with you, sir. I'm on your side. But you have to understand where I'm just trying to get you to understand where I'm coming from and where we're coming from. This man, Floyd, was not the man that many are painting him out to be. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, I know that.
Okay, then we're in agreement then. All right, fair enough,
and
sir.
that's the issue. We're not saying that he should have died because of the things that he did in his life.
Absolutely.
Obviously, Officer Chauvin he's been charged with second-degree murder because he did something that no officer should ever do to anybody.
Yeah.
But George Floyd was not a martyr. He was not a hero. In fact, he was by all accounts kind of a piece of crap.
Well, I'm not going to disagree with that. 257-5396.
His brother said he made a really good grilled cheese sandwich.
Well, I'm sure he did that very well. I wonder if he did the grilled cheese sandwich while he held somebody at gunpoint.
And I think we have to really think about that. I mean, even after
I bet he made a great grilled cheese sandwich on the radiator.
Even after serving 6 prison sentences and even the 2000s, when the officer, he was high on fentanyl and methamphetamines. He was still using drugs. And fentanyl is one of those drugs that people die from that drug all the time.
Let's take some more phone calls. 257-5396. Johnny, you're next on the Vegas take.
What's up, Johnny?
Oh, Johnny boy. Did we lose him? Go, Johnny, go. Sean, who do we got next? Let's go to Jerry. Jerry, you're next up on the Vegas take. What's up?
Hey, what's up, Jerry?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Hey, I got all the answers right here, man. And no one's seen the right answers but you guys. Well, Colts, anyway. But this guy, we've done everything we could. When someone commits a crime, no matter who it is and who's against, I'm not for those black people. I think it's all lives matter. But anyway, it should be all deaths matter. This case. But anyway.
Listen, sir, can I just respond to that?
Yeah.
Of course, all lives matter, but I'm sure you'll also understand that if you're at a Black Lives Matter protest or you're speaking to a minority and they say Black Lives Matter and then you look at them and you say all lives matter, it's not that they don't think your life matters as well, sir, but that's not what their cause is right now. You can understand why that could be offensive to them.
Now, the rest of my thing was going to explain that. Because the first thing you got to do when anything happens is you got to find the problem. Where's the problem? Okay, that's the problem. Then you got to prove it. Not by segments of a film with beginning to end, audio, video, whatever you can do. You got to prove it. Then you can prosecute. That's all we can do.
Oh, I agree with you, sir. Yes, all you can do is prosecute, but let's try to prevent these things from happening.
How?
Well, I've given a couple reasons on how, or a couple examples of how we can. First of all, we have to end systemic racism across the country. That is a very difficult thing to do. I think body cameras, 24/7 body cameras, 24/7 audio and video will at least hold police officers accountable. Listen, it happens to white people too. Look at what happened in Buffalo. Okay, in Buffalo yesterday. Did you guys see this video? A 75-year-old white man
was pushed over.
Pushed down. And he's bleeding from his ears. He's now in serious condition. And guess what the police did? It's disgusting. In the video, police decided to let him sit there, and they lied. They said that he tripped. Police officers lie, and even during these times, they continue to lie. 257-5396. Let's go to Carrie. Carrie, you're next on the Vegas take.
Hey, what's up, Carrie?
Hi. I'm surprised by what you guys are saying, because if you think about it, just like what you were saying about the Black Lives Matter, of course, all lives matter, but you're agreeing with him that that's kind of offensive when people say all lives matter.
Well, that's what I just said.
On the same, I don't want to get into that, but that kind of makes my point. On the same token, if you had a child, I'm a grandma, I'm a mom, I'm a white woman, but I think what you're saying is horrible.
What have I said specifically that's horrible?
Well, I'm trying to tell you. I usually agree with you, by the way.
Okay.
But if you had a child that did some bad things, would you
Yes.
love them less?
That's a ridiculous question, and I'll respond to what I think you're trying to say. Hold on. Okay, but hold on. You asked me a question. I will let you go on. I promise you. But let me respond to what you're saying. Never once have I said in the last hour and 15 minutes that the police were justified. In fact, every day I've been on George Floyd's side and minorities throughout this country that are mistreated. I've also said in the first hour, you're choosing just to listen to certain things. I've also said that my heart, and I've said it all week, that my heart goes out to the George Floyd family and his friends, their pain. It is horrible. All I am simply saying, and I'll repeat it again, all I'm saying is that his friends and family are making him out to be a hero and this wonderful, perfect human being. And guess what? When you point a gun at a pregnant woman's stomach, you're not a really nice person, okay? That does not justify what the officers did. So let me ask you now, ma'am, what have I just said there that is despicable?
You said you'd let me respond.
I did, but I'm asking you a question. What did I just say there that you disagree with?
I agree with you on everything
That's what I've
you
said.
just said.
That's what I've been saying the last hour and 15 minutes.
But just let me make my point, because I agree with everything you said. Those things are all horrible. The police, the gun, the woman, all of it.
So what do you disagree with then?
I'm trying to tell you, but you won't let me. Can I say it now?
Please.
Just without
That's how
getting
Brian
interrupted.
treats all women.
Okay,
I
agree with everything. However, I think that a funeral and a family, I know that if my child, I'm not going to speak for anybody else, but I know, thankfully I have kids that haven't done those kind of things, but I know that if they had, and if they were killed, I would be grieving them. I would not, in their funeral, do anything but praise the good that my children did do.
That's not what I am criticizing. Again, you're not understanding. Hold on. No, hold on a second. You're not understanding my opinions. I have to repeat it for you again. I'm not criticizing the family for saying nice things about George Floyd in the funeral. Did you hear what I said? I'm criticizing the people that are not practicing social distancing. I'm criticizing the celebrities there that wanted their names read off. I'm criticizing Al Sharpton and Benjamin Crumbs. I think you could have found better African-American leaders than those two. That's what I'm criticizing. I don't blame the family members.
That's what the family chose. And
I didn't.
Their son's funeral.
And I don't think it was the right choice.
Victim shaming doesn't help.
That is not victim shaming. What are you talking about?
It doesn't help to victim shame, and that is
what are you talking about? All right, so let me ask you a question.
And I'm personally criticizing the mainstream media for turning George Floyd into a hero or a martyr and using this to divide the country racially and pretending like every single police officer treats every single African American like George Floyd was treated. George Floyd, it was, again, by all accounts, a career criminal.
Let me go back to this caller. Is she still on the line? Hold on, ma'am. Ma'am.
I'm not saying that at all.
Ma'am, this is the problem, ma'am. You don't listen. Okay, now I'm going to ask you to listen. Do you disagree with me that you think it's okay at a funeral for people not to practice social distancing? Yes or no?
No, I didn't like that.
All right, so let's go on. Hold on. I'm going to ask you. No, ma'am, we don't have time for you. Ma'am, it's either yes or no questions. Please stay on the line. Do you think that the family could have chosen someone better than a racist, anti-Semitic piece of garbage in Al Sharpton to speak at the funeral? Yes or no? Yes or no?
The family's choice.
That's not what I asked you. That's not what I asked you. All right, she's not going to answer my questions anymore. Have a nice day. Have a nice day. Have a nice day.
Good call.
Have a nice
Brian
day.
is just expressing his opinion. You're more than welcome to disagree with it. And you're right. It was the family's choice. All Brian is saying is that it wasn't the right choice.
Yeah, they have a right to choose whoever they want to. If they wanted to choose O.J. Simpson to speak and do a eulogy, they could have. It is my opinion. Hold on. It is my opinion that they chose the wrong people. It is not victim shaming. I have no idea what the hell this woman is talking about.
And that combined with the fact that you had probably 60 or 70,000 families across the country in the last 3 months that were unable to have funerals of more than 10 people for their family members that have died of COVID-19, that I believe are going to be extremely angry after what happened last night with no social distancing and thousands of people in a publicity stunt type of funeral. I think that was a horrible decision. They should have enforced social distancing, and they should have limited the amount of people that were there.
Yeah, well,
because
it's funny.
for everyone else who died in the last 3 or 4 months due to COVID, that was the case.
257-5396. Let's get to some other calls. Let's go to Glenn. Glenn, you're next on the Vegas Take.
What's up, Glenn?
Hey, how you doing? You guys, I just got to compliment you on taking on really serious, dangerous topics and getting the criticism. For a week there, you focused. The topic was on police brutality. You did that well. I mean, you took the side, and everyone agreed with you. This week or today, you guys are really brave to take on the opposite side. And a lot of listeners, I can tell, are not understanding that you're doing a radio show and you're focusing on a specific topic.
Right.
And they're generalizing too much.
Glenn, can I? And by the way, Glenn, stay on the line, sir. I appreciate those comments. And I appreciate you calling us brave, but I don't think it's brave to be honest on the radio. Sadly, I think there's too many people that are cowards that are not able to do that on the air. And you're right. For the entire week, we've been on George Floyd's side, and I remain to be on his side and his family's side and all minorities throughout the country and the world when it comes to police brutality and mistreatment and systemic racism. My opinion on that hasn't changed. But my opinion today, we are reacting to the funeral. They didn't practice social distancing. You had a racist, anti-Semitic Al Sharpton up there talking. That's the last person that we should be listening to. Put Barack Obama up there. There are plenty of great black leaders throughout the country that would have spoken at that funeral. We don't need to hear about Ludacris and Kevin Hart sitting front row at a funeral. Practice social distancing and stop painting this guy out to be some sort of hero when he was a bad guy.
Well, especially and doing that specifically to divide the country by race and indicting all police officers in the process.
Glenn,
that is what's happening right now.
Glenn, I'm glad you understand.
I agree with you. Pardon me?
I said I'm glad you understand where we're coming from, Glenn. I do.
Oh, I think you're doing a good job, but you're going to get a lot of flack today. I can tell.
I could care less, sir. You know what? I could care less.
That's part of the expectation.
Glenn, I appreciate those kind words.
Good call,
sir.
Glenn.
Thank you. I think instead of calling somebody brave, though, and I appreciate the compliment, instead of calling somebody brave for being honest on the air, I think we should call out cowards on the air for not being honest.
Or just call us honest.
702-257-5396. Richard, you're next on the Vegas Take.
Hey, what's up, Richard?
Yes. More than just generalizing, you got to see at the facts, okay? And for the last lady that called, she was saying that you can't talk bad about this person because he passed away or whatever, but the fact is that he was a felon. All his life, he was a felon. Nobody's saying that he should have died the way he did. Everybody agrees that it was murder. They already got charged. I don't even know why they're still writing. Well, I do know why they're still writing. It's because at state level and the policies are wrong. Like, once somebody gets in handcuffs, the cops should leave them alone. They shouldn't beat them up after you.
Nobody's arguing that.
Restraint.
Yeah. No reasonable person.
And again, it's not like Officer Chauvin is not charged with second-degree murder. He is. He's been charged with murder. And this happened 6 or 7 days ago. The third degree, and then it was obviously upgraded to second degree. So
sir,
the whole country knows that.
Let me ask you a question, sir, now that we have you on the line. And by the way, I'm glad you understand where we're coming from. Why do you think there are women, that woman who called in, and why do you think there are people out there where, they want to agree with everything I say when it comes to police brutality, but then the second I'm honest, and I say that this guy George Floyd,
let me tell you,
why do you think they disagree with me so much and they get so upset?
Because her point was, okay, if that was my son, of course I'm going to say all the good things that he did. I totally agree with that, but that's his family. What about these people that just found out about George Floyd, that don't know anything about him, and come and speak and call him a hero and he's this and he's that, but the truth is that he's not. And when I see kids holding up his picture and praising him, and in Germany they putting his picture up on the walls and all that, it's like, first know your facts. That is not somebody you should be praising to.
You are so right in what you just said. We understand that the family is going to be emotional and they're going to say nice things. You are so right. What about the media? What about people that didn't know him very well? Stop making him out to be a martyr. Thank you so much for that phone call. I could not agree with you more.
Hey, great call, Richard.
702-257-5396. Let's go to Malik. Malik, you're next up on the Vegas tape.
What's up, Malik?
Yeah, guys. So listen, you guys, what you're doing is, I know you're doing a radio talk show, and look, the family put it on television, and I agree. No social distancing, the theatrics and all. They're up for criticism. You got an opinion like everybody else. Everybody's got one, like, just like an asshole. But you just sound so cruel, Brian. I mean, the guy, look, before you interrupt, the guy could have been a stick-up artist all his life. But this is, I know you guys got to have something to talk about. Nobody's saying he's
Malik, can I respond to that? Malik, let me respond. I'm not hanging up on you, Malik. You're staying on the line, my friend. Don't worry. I just want to respond. Okay, can't we agree that there are two cruel things here? Cruel, and Malik, I've been talking about this all week, and I've been talking about this for years, about police brutality and the way minorities are treated in this country. It's cruel. But can't we all agree that putting a gun to a pregnant woman's stomach and robbing her is also cruel?
And how do you overlook that?
Of course. No,
okay, so why is it cruel? So why are you criticizing what I'm saying then?
Malik, listen. What I'm saying is, look, this guy could have beat old ladies up. He could have been so horrible, and he, the guy was apparently he had substance abuse.
It doesn't justify murder. I've said that. I've said that all day.
What I'm saying, the guy, he had issues, and I think we all have some. But I'm just saying, that lady was.
It's one thing. Hold on, Malik. I have to stop you. I have issues. JD has issues with his stomach. He goes to the bathroom every day. I have issues with OCD and ADD. Those are issues. I'm not going to diminish and say it is an issue when you point a gun at a woman and burglarize her. That's not an issue. It's called a felon.
Malik, let me ask you this: What if the woman had, when she had that gun pointed at her stomach, what if she had turned around and she had tried to get a hold of the police? Do you think that George Floyd would have shot that baby in her stomach?
Yeah, listen, that's all. What I'm saying is the word issue, maybe that was a bad way.
That's a horrible word for that, yeah.
Okay, it was a horrible word. The man had, he was a criminal in the past,
yes.
And he had drug problems, obviously.
Yes.
But the way you are going at him.
Tell me specifically what I said. Malik, listen.
JD said he's a career criminal. But what? Okay, all right, fine.
Malik, I like you. Malik, I like you. You know I like you. I always enjoy your perspective when you call in.
No, as do I.
But I need you to be specific here because this is very important. What specifically did I say that you thought was cruel?
What sounds cruel is just that the man is not even in the ground yet, I don't believe, and would denigrate them. So is this?
I don't think it's okay. So that's where we disagree. I don't think it's denigrating somebody to say, while I don't condone murder, I also think you're a bad human being when you point a gun at somebody and burglarize them. I don't think that's denigrating. I think that's called being honest.
Malik, let me ask you this: if there was a Caucasian quote unquote stick-up artist who all he did was rob people at gunpoint, do you think that they are productive members of society, and would you mourn for them if they died under unfortunate circumstances?
Okay, again, hypothetical.
It is. It's a race-based hypothetical.
If it was a George Floyd that was a Caucasian guy, I think the whole nation, just like that old man that got pushed in Buffalo by those two police officers, that's horrible. That's horrible what they did to that old man.
Malik, I want you to. Malik, I'm up against the break.
The reason the old man is being publicized as much as it is because it's supposed to be more indication that police officers are bad people.
Malik, say for instance, he's got a horrible background. That old man. Are we going to? If he passed, God forbid he does.
Malik, listen. Malik, listen. I respect your opinion, but I absolutely disagree with you on this. I am not being cruel. I am being honest. If it was somebody that was white, Hispanic, I would be doing the exact same thing.
You're being honestly cruel, but that's okay.
No, I don't think it's cruel at all. Malik, I appreciate the phone call. But,
good call, Malik. Thank you.
Okay, it is not cruel to call out a felon. It is not cruel to call out one's character when everyone's painting him out to be a wonderful human being and everybody wanted to be around him, let's ask that woman who he pointed the gun at, who was pregnant, if she thinks he was a wonderful human being. Anybody who points a gun at somebody and attempts to commit a robbery is a horrible human being. Can you turn your life around? Yes, I suppose. But then if you have a beautiful daughter, you probably shouldn't be continuing to do meth, and you probably shouldn't be trying to pass around fake $20 bills. Now, we got to take a break. I'm going to give out the number again, 702-257-5396. I am not on this radio show to say everything that you agree with. I am on this show to share my opinions. You can agree or disagree, but there's nothing cruel with calling out a felon for who he is. That is a felon and a criminal. Your call's next. You're listening to The Vegas Take. All right, welcome back. It is The Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. Welcome back to the show on a Friday. Glad you could join us. And the number to call is 702-257-5396. By the way, if you want to be a part of the conversation, I want to repeat myself because I think this is very, very important. All week long, I've talked about the Black Lives Matter protest, and I've supported it. Those who are not rioting or committing crimes, of course. I understand, even though I am not black and I don't know what it's like to be black in America, I understand where they're coming from. I've seen police brutality. I've seen mistreatment. I want that to change. I don't want what happened to George Floyd to happen to anybody in this country ever again. And I think some of the laws need to change. Some of our policies and training of police officers need to change. I am on the side of Floyd's family. It's a horrible thing. The man did not deserve to die or get murdered like he did. With that being said, the only reason why I'm talking about George Floyd and who he was is because everyone else is talking about his character. If you go on even Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, all the networks, people that barely knew him, what a great man. Everybody wanted to be around him. What a fantastic person. Well, a fantastic person doesn't commit robbery and point a gun at a woman's stomach when she's pregnant. That's just a fact, ladies and gentlemen. Or deal drugs, or have meth in your system, or peddle fake $20 bills. That's not a great man, who, by the way, had a beautiful daughter, and I feel so horrible for her that she has to grow up without a father. And I don't agree with the way they handled the funeral yesterday. Al Sharpton, an anti-Semitic racist, that's who you choose? Benjamin Crumbs, as I like to call him? How about get some real leaders up there? And they didn't practice social distancing. And then half the time, it's Al Sharpton praising the celebrities that were in attendance. That's a joke. This isn't the Grammys we're talking about. This isn't an award show. It's a damn funeral. We're sending this guy off. Do you folks understand where I'm coming from here? You can criticize and talk about police brutality and understand where Black Lives Matter is coming from, but also be a little critical of this man and the way he lived his life. He wasn't a saint. The number to call, 702-257-5396. That is the number to call. Let's go to Alex. Alex, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Alex?
Hey, good morning, Brian and JD. JD, please do not flatulate while Brian's in the same office. Here's the thing I want to say,
Thank
Brian.
you. I can't help it,
believe
Alex.
that I agree with you 100% everything you've said. Saying that, I've got to say for the black community, it is really, really hard to see what happened to Floyd George, and I don't even want to imagine that this is what's going on in this country. It's horrible. I think as a society we've got to change, and that's going to have to be all the races to get along. That Floyd George, after hearing what you guys are mentioning about his record, I think those are the guys that caused the trouble for the image of black people in the country, because 99% of black people that I've met, they are very decent people.
What about all the people that are going in and out of these stores stealing? Listen, this is a stereotype, and I don't like stereotypes, but a stereotype of minorities, and I don't think it's a fair stereotype, but a stereotype of minorities is those who steal, right? It's a bad stereotype.
Yes.
If you don't want people to stereotype you, then maybe you shouldn't steal.
That's kind of what I mentioned in a phone call earlier in the week. But I think, Brian, you misunderstood what I was trying to get at regarding the pants down to the knees. Unfortunately, the stereotype of people like that in my community, which is a lot of Hispanics, is that young men, especially black young men, have their pants down their knees or close to their knees. According to what I hear, and I feel.
But Alex, I have to ask you.
Go ahead.
But Alex, how do you equate your pants down to being a criminal? I'm talking about crime.
Well,
I don't care if somebody has.
He's saying that typically people who have their pants down are much more likely to commit a crime than someone who doesn't.
Well, I'm not going to make
That's what he's saying.
I didn't mean like that. What I meant was that it's the stereotype, it's the image of somebody that's going to cause trouble for you.
Right.
I see a lot of young men that are dressed. You know how the culture, how they want to dress, but they don't have that look.
That's why. But here's why I'm not going to go there.
For example, say you're in an alleyway and you're walking down the street and there's four guys. Whether it doesn't matter what color they are, but they have khakis and a tucked in shirt, and that you see that. But then you see four guys and they have their pants down to their their pants are sagging, or maybe they're covered in tattoos. Something like that reinforces the stereotype of not feeling safe.
You know what it's called? What you guys are doing? It's 2 words: racial profiling. I refuse to. Excuse me.
That's not true at all.
Okay, if I can finish.
I said regardless. Okay. This is about attire. This is about attire. It has nothing to do with race.
Okay. You are equating. Hold on. You are equating someone who might have his pants low as to someone more likely to commit a crime. There has never been one study that would prove what you are saying. You are assuming that because someone has their pants low a little bit, that they're more likely to commit a crime. I care about people that actually commit crimes. I just mentioned it, the people that are looting and rioting, okay? I care about the fact that, and by the way, his name is George Floyd, not Floyd George. Let's get his name right. I care about the fact that he pointed a gun at a pregnant woman. I don't care the way George Floyd dressed. I could give 2 craps about the way anybody dresses. What I care about is crime. It's not a crime if you wear your pants down. I don't want to see anybody's ass. Well, I shouldn't say that. Any male ass, to be fair. No, but in all seriousness, I don't care. If I see someone's pants down, I don't look at them and say, ooh, they're more likely to commit crime. That is racial profiling, and I refuse to do it. 702-257-5396. Let's go to Joe. Joe, you're next on the Vegas take.
Hey, what's up, Joe?
Sean, who do we got next? Let's go to Carol. Carol, you're next on the Vegas take.
Hey, what's up, Carol?
Hi, guys. Okay. I knew about George's background, but I'm not at liberty to say how I knew. But if we're going to find out everything about the police officer, I think it'd be fair to find out about the victim as well. And I agree with everything you said. I've never liked Sharpton. I don't think he's done anything to help the black Americans, and I don't like Crumbs either. But I just want to ask one question. Had we known about his background, would that have caused some of the dissension in the country, or would things have gone a lot better if we'd have known a little bit about that?
It's a fair question to ask. Here's what I will say about the time he died. And there's no question, and I'm sure you would agree, Carol, that those 4 officers should pay the price. I think it was murder. However, if you have methamphetamine in your body...
And fentanyl.
Yes. There's probably a better chance you're not going to act like a lawful citizen. Did he deserve to die? Absolutely.
By the way, he also had COVID-19.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question? If you don't mind me asking, I don't know how much you could shed light into this, but how when you say you knew a little bit more about his background, what do you mean by that? How did you know that? And
she said that she can't talk about it.
It's really hard for me to disclose that.
Okay.
I just don't want to get anybody into trouble. I no one on the press was talking about it, and it was coming to me from good sources. And
okay.
I thought, why is no one talking about that? And
well, I think here's the problem.
Because the media is pushing a narrative to divide the country and to make police officers look like they treat all African Americans the same way under those circumstances.
I can only speak for myself, and here's why I'll say I'm talking about this today. Because I'm reacting to the funeral that took place yesterday, which I thought was a disgrace. I'm reacting to Al Sharpton, the racist pig that he is, and the anti-Semite. I'm reacting to crumbs, as I like to call him, because that's what he does. He takes crumbs from these grieving families. That's what he does for a living. I'm sick of this guy.
I can appreciate that,
okay?
Brian.
And I'm reacting. Hold on. And I'm also reacting to social distance. The fact that just as I criticize the Trump supporters holding these rallies everywhere, I'm going to also criticize Black Lives Matter, these protests, and I'm going to criticize. You know what gets me so angry, Carol? Here's what gets me so pissed off, is the fact that over 100,000 people have died of the coronavirus in the last 3 or 4 months, And the majority of these people couldn't even go to the funerals.
Right.
They had to do it over the internet. What makes this man any different where all these people were able to go to his funeral? That's what ticks me off.
And I'm guessing there might be a handful of people.
They weren't even allowed to have a ceremony, and then they went there and they arrested those people. What makes them any different than anybody else?
And I would imagine that maybe a handful of those people who died of COVID-19 had anywhere near the history or the past that George Floyd had or has. And I think you asked that question. I do believe that had his actual criminal history been announced at the same time, that the dissension would be a lot less than it is now. Because no one knew anything. And all news networks were pushing this.
Yeah.
And again, nothing we've said on this show today excuses what those four
Absolutely
officers
not.
did.
No.
Nothing will stop me from talking about racial injustice. We have systemic racism. I know a lot of people, particularly way on the far right, don't like that word. I know that Rush Limbaugh doesn't think that white supremacy exists. So does Tucker Carlson. They're wrong. But that doesn't excuse us from, if they want to talk about this guy, George Floyd, and his back, and they want to paint him out to be some sort of hero, he ain't a hero. 702-257-5396. Heroes are the men and women in uniform that risk their lives every day for this country. Heroes are the firefighters that go into burning buildings. Heroes are the good Samaritans that risk their lives to save others. Let's get back to the phone.
Heroes are David Dorn and David Underwood, two African-American police officers that were killed as a result of the looting and the rioting that has taken place.
No question.
Heroes.
257-5396. Let's go to Loretta. Loretta, you're next up on the Vegas tape.
What's up, Loretta?
Thank you. I am African American, and I don't hear anyone speaking about all of the love that they were sharing in the funeral services, how they loved one another. I think that the family has failed George, because if he had a lifestyle that he was living, what happened to the family that they didn't embrace him, draw him in, meet his needs? I think that his death was wrong. That was wrong. And I agree with all the things that you are saying about the funeral,
Loretta,
Al Sharpton, all of that. But
Loretta,
I think, too, the family has failed George.
I agree with you. Loretta, as an African-American woman, you're the type of person that I want to hear. So I'm a white man, and if you didn't already know that, I don't know what it's like to be an African-American, living in this country. So I want to ask you this. Do you think I'm wrong in saying that you could have found much better African-American leaders than an Al Sharpton and Benjamin Crumb to speak at that funeral? Do you think I'm wrong in saying that?
No, you're not wrong. I would not have chosen Al Sharpton. When I saw him, I was appalled. I said, I don't believe it, that they had chosen Al Sharpton.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you. That was a wrong choice of the family.
Can I go a step further, Loretta?
Yeah.
Al Sharpton is a race baiter, in my opinion, and he profits off of African Americans being killed. He did it. He's done it for years. Okay, Benjamin Crumb, as I like to call him, takes up the crumbs of grieving African American families when they lose loved ones.
Mm-hmm.
To me, I just think it's a disgrace what these two people do for a living.
It is a disgrace, but I thank you for letting me express my point of view, because I didn't hear anybody else talking about all of the love that they were sharing about George and his brothers and his sisters and whatever.
You are so right. Where was the love? How did the family let him exchange fake bills, continue with a drug habit that he had, and now all of a sudden they say they're going to use this FundMe page of $13 million for getting help and grief counseling? Where was the counseling for George Floyd when he needed it?
And that might cost what?
That's right.
$100,000?
Yeah.
Loretta, the absolute most.
Loretta, listen, we got to get to some other calls, but you call back anytime. You sound like a very nice lady and very intelligent, and we love hearing your perspective. Please call back anytime, okay? We appreciate you.
Thanks a lot, Loretta.
Or it could have cost nothing. Maybe they could have had an intervention. Maybe they just could have invited him over to the home and gave him a meal and said, hey, you don't have to do the drugs. We love you. I mean, you don't have to send him to rehab necessarily.
Listen, the majority of the people that are calling in, by the way, we've had minorities calling in. We've had conservatives calling in. We've had Democrats calling in, and
it's been a good mix.
And let me tell you something. When I have an African American woman who's been on Earth probably longer than I have share that same sentiment, that means a lot to me. And it means I think we're doing something right on the show today. 702-257-5396. Let's go to Joe. Joe, you're next on the Vegas Take.
Hey, what's up, Joe?
Hey, good morning. I listen to your show almost every day. I'm a conservative. I almost disagree with you almost all the time, Brian. But today you're right on. I think that your analysis of treating this guy like he was a hero is totally wrong by everybody, and it's a misconception. And when it goes out to the public, the people that only listen to certain things hear that part of it, and that fuels some of the rage that's going on now. He puts a bad name on the good people that are out there, the good minorities that are out there.
I'm glad we agree on this, Joe. I don't mind people that disagree, but let me ask you this question. Can I ask you this question because I'm curious because you seem like a nice guy. Okay, you say you say I'm sure you are. You say you disagree with me on almost everything. Can you give me the one biggest thing every day that you disagree with me on? Because I'm just curious if we could talk about that.
Well, okay. A number of weeks ago, maybe a month or a month and a half ago, the NASCAR guy used a racial slur.
Yeah, used the
and
N-word.
You equated all NASCAR fans as being racist. Well,
I didn't. I never. Hold on. No, let me.
Brian has definitely stereotyped NASCAR fans as not just racist but also stupid.
JD, can I respond
on
to
multiple occasions?
JD, if I could respond to him because you're just as wrong as he is.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. I never said that all NASCAR fans are racist. Now, if you can find the audio or you can find that, then I will apologize on the air. But, sir, I never said that. Now, it's very interesting. Right. No, it's not okay because you're mischaracterizing what I said.
You were talking about stereotypes.
Yes.
I remember that interview. You said
stereotypes.
You said what this guy did in using the N-word does not help the stereotype that NASCAR fans are racist.
Now, here you are, sir, with all due respect, here you are calling into the show saying you normally disagree with me on anything. You said I said something a month and a half ago, and you completely mischaracterized what I said.
I took what you said, and I interpreted it that way.
Well, that's not what I said, though.
No, you did stereotype NASCAR fans as racist and dumb.
Nope.
Racist, dumb, and Trump supporters. No, you did. You stereotyped all NASCAR fans.
Not what I said.
Yes, you did.
Stein just exactly word for word said what I said on the show. I said he's not helping the stereotype that some have of NASCAR fans in that aspect. And by the way, I was right because he didn't, and he was fired.
You also had another conversation when you actually went to the NASCAR event here in Las Vegas, and you talked and you made fun of them at that point as well.
I made fun of the sport because I don't like the sport.
Right, exactly.
I wasn't calling them racist.
The sport and the fans that were there that you saw.
Yes,
and you stereotyped them as Trump supporters, racist,
first of all,
and dumb.
Okay, so here's the thing.
Which doesn't matter. It's fine.
So, no, well, you're wrong once again. You can keep saying something that's wrong, and it doesn't make it right. I went to the NASCAR race. I saw many people wearing Trump gear. So, yes, I did say yes. Many of these people that are in NASCAR are Trump, and I think the sport is dumb. I didn't say they were all dumb. I think the sport is dumb. Watching cars go round and round and round doesn't do it for me. Yes, I think the sport is dumb. So once again, you are also mischaracterizing.
I am not incorrect. You said it much. You did not put it that lightly. You were much more aggressive with your description of it. But again, this was probably 6 or 7 months ago, Brian.
Well, here's the thing.
Actually, probably 9 months ago. Long time.
I went to the event and you didn't. So I think I'm a little bit more credible.
But I did the radio show with you, and I remember that conversation.
And if you want to find that audio, then go ahead and find it. But you're wrong. You're just wrong. I know exactly what I said, and I know what my opinions are. 702-257-5396. Let's go to Rex. Rex, you're next on the Vegas Take.
Hey, what's up, Rex?
Hey, guys. A great show, by the way.
Thank you.
So I heard something on the news. I just wanted to run it by you for comment. So last night they said on CBS News that if there is a spike in 2 weeks from the protests, it's because the police shot tear gas at them.
Okay, well, that's stupid.
I know it is, but this is the problem, is that the hypocrisy on both sides, and I think I'm kind of in the middle, probably more conservative than liberal, but it's people are saying things, whatever fits their agenda.
Right.
Regardless of, and we see it with, the women in the workforce, and one guy's, they try to throw him out of the Supreme Court The other guy, it's okay because we know him and we know he wouldn't do that. And I just wanted you guys to comment on if you see that as well in both the media and in people. And
I'll actually
destroying us.
I'll do you one better. Andrew Cuomo went out and said, if you do see a spike of cases in a couple of weeks, blame racism. That's what he said verbatim.
All right, so let me respond, and let me
took a knee with about 1,000 people a couple days ago. I don't believe he was wearing a mask, and he said 3 weeks ago he was going to keep L.A. shut for 3 months.
I'm going to try to be as honest with you as I can, and all due respect to you, JD, I'm going to do something that I don't think you do very often on this show. I'm going to call out both sides.
Sure I do.
Okay, all right. Well, you just called out Cuomo, who happens to be a Democrat.
That has nothing to do with because he said something that is completely ridiculous.
Right,
It's only why I called him out.
Let me respond to this guy now because you already did.
Yeah, but don't
if I can,
try to attack me, though, Brian.
Well, you attacked me with the NASCAR thing, so now you know.
I did not attack you at all. That's what you said verbatim.
Let's get back to the calls now. You're 100% wrong.
You did. You characterized NASCAR fans as a specific thing.
Can I respond to the caller now?
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you very much. Fox News and CNN, Fox News and MSNBC, OAN, they do it on both sides of the aisle. And I'm not going to sit here and just call out CNN like my co-host just called out Cuomo, a Democrat. I am going to call out both sides.
But that's not why I called him out.
If I could finish, I'm going to call out both sides of the aisle, sir. You're absolutely right. I am sick and tired of it. But, sir, I'm going to make the bottom line is right here, sir, and I think you'll agree. This is about money, and it's about ratings. CNN and MSNBC go to their base and their viewership, and Fox News does the exact same thing. It happens on both sides, so these idiots that want to call CNN fake news, Fox News does the exact same thing, and I can give you a plethora of examples, including Laura Ingraham, who decided to back Drew Brees very recently, but yet she tells LeBron James to shut up
and what did I call Laura Ingraham yesterday, Brian?
I agree. But I'm talking
so
about what
you said I don't call out both sides. I just called out Laura Ingraham as racist yesterday because, in my opinion, that is extremely racist between the Nipsey Hussle thing and the Kobe Bryant thing, and now not letting LeBron James have an opinion because he's an African American athlete and Drew Brees to have an opinion because he's Caucasian. She is clearly racist.
Okay,
I do call out both sides, Brian.
I'm glad you did that, but you didn't do it just now. You called out Cuomo, and the question wasn't about Cuomo or just CNN. It was about both sides of the aisle.
No, but Cuomo has nothing to do.
Back to the phone
the fact that he's a Democrat has nothing to do with why I called him out.
All right, I disagree. I think it was, but
okay, well, it's not because he is saying that if there's a spike in cases, that it's due to racism.
All right,
that's what he's saying.
All right, let's get back to the calls. 257-5396. Let's go to Anthony. Anthony, you're next on the Vegas tape.
Hey, what's up, Anthony?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Awesome. All right. So, earlier you were saying, that you felt a little bit weary of speaking on these things because you're a white man, but I'm actually a Mexican male, Mexican American male, in my late 20s, and I feel I'm more qualified to speak on this thing, not than you, but I'm just saying that I'm actually here in the streets with these people who are doing the most, and that I do not agree with at all. I listen to your show, and to most of your points, we have the same thought processes, and I think, like you said, it's wrong that they're glorifying someone that shouldn't be glorified to be a hero, because he's not a hero. He's a person who has committed crime in the past, and I'm not saying just because you commit crime that you can't be a good person. It also depends on the crime and how you view things. There's perspective on everything. But
no, I appreciate that. I appreciate your comments, and I think we do have the same thought process in hearing you speak. And the thing that gets me frustrated, sir. And by the way, I appreciate the call. I apologize. We're up against a hard break here, but I appreciate you listening and your call. This is the problem. It's such an emotional topic, right? That when people hear me criticize the funeral yesterday and criticize those people that were not practicing social distancing, they automatically think I'm shaming the family. I'm victim shaming. Couldn't be further from the truth. It doesn't change my opinion or our opinion. We agree on this, in that those 4 officers need to pay for murder. It doesn't change the fact that we have systemic racism in this country. But can't we do that and then call out those that are making this man out to be a hero? That's what we've done on the show.